Hello everyone, and welcome to another Starcraft 2 replay. This is going to be a TvT. We got shoot 'em up, the blue Terran spawning the top left-hand position, and the top right-hand position is myself, Ketroc. Shoot 'em up is a UEN League member. I think he's also watched some of my videos, so he's got a good idea of what I'm up to. And last game he stomped me pretty hard as he knew I was going. Well, he knew what I was doing, but I think he just got blue flame hellions in my face and I didn't have it walled off properly. And as you guys know, if blue flame hellions get in deep, it's just basically game over in about 2 seconds, which is exactly what happened. So, Shoot 'em Up is a Master League's opponent. I think in our history I'm maybe like 1 in 5 versus him. And that might be giving myself too much credit. I don't actually know if I've beaten Shoot 'em Up before. But since he knows my Sky Terran build, I'm going to try to metagame him pretty hard. I'm going to do the exact same opener. I'm going to wall off my base, get my orbital, but notice I'm getting no gas. I'm going to try to see if I can get him to commit to Banshee defense, and at the same time I'm going to take a fast expansion of my own. So Shoot 'em Up is getting a factory after his barracks. Still on 1 gas. And there's my fast command center going down already. Bunkering off the top of my ramp, just probably because I just got the minerals for it, and I might be worried about hellions just poking at my front door again. Every once in a while I'll lose to like just a hellion poke. They'll poke at my front door and I'm like, oh my god, I don't have a bunker. And all I got is like 5 Marines. And all of a sudden, like, Marines and hellions can just walk in and kill me. Still gonna be doing my Sky Terran build. I'm just doing a much more economic opening to start for it. Throwing up a couple missile turrets, transferring my workers. Still don't have a factory, it looks like. And just setting up, just walling off this area just so the blue flame hellions can't get in on me. It does appear that it does have the blue flame, so it's a good decision. And factory coming, followed probably by starport now. Bring up the income tab, you can see I'm well up 36 over 30, and my expo is up long before his. At the same time, he's gotten his Raven and his Viking. He's all ready to defend versus the Banshees, but they're not coming. Given his expo will be orbital command, which is a little bit of an advantage, but I don't mind that. Looks like he called down his mule before he moved it over. I'm not sure if I agree with that. I think it's better to delay those minerals a little bit and to get the mules on your expo, just so you don't mine out your main immediately. It's still good to make the orbital command just before you float it, just so you start storing up that energy. So, but it's not like Queen injects, right? It's not something you have to do immediately. If you stall on a mule, it won't delay the next one. So there's a scan on my front. You probably know it's not worth doing any sort of blue flame tactics here. The low ground sieging though will work well, and he actually has opened a door for the hellions if he chooses to go in that direction. Setting up another missile turret here though, now he's walled off once again. And even with the PDD, it looks like my Vikings are able to do quite well in that exchange. I guess we'll slow down the game a touch. We're going to 2x, and I'm probably missing things. I know you guys like the production task, bring that up. So I'm just taking advantage of my repair, just kind of pulling back whenever I can. A little miss micro there by shoot 'em up. His Viking count is down. Same time, it looks like I forced back to siege tank, so his little siege push here is not going to be doing well, and all those Hellions don't have much of a use as of yet. Looks like I didn't really do much of a wall off my base. I walled off this area, but I think I'm relying more on the missile turrets going on here. Very standard to be fearing SCVs with a command center. Okay, not standard at all, but hey. Gets the expo going faster, doesn't it? So I'm taking my third prior to shoot 'em up, and looks like I'm in decent shape here. So a lot of Hellions and tanks, which will help them dominate the ground, but of course with my Sky Terran build, I'm not going for any ground assault. Just kind of working on my Viking count. Am I going towards Battlecruiser? Yes, looks like I am. Production queue, we got one Battlecruiser on the way, and my 2-2 upgrades also. So I'm feeling pretty good here. I like to do this too with my barracks. Not in TvT because I usually don't have a spare barracks. Sometimes I do if my scout barracks lives, but it's kind of like landing it in their next expansion spot. If you're a Zerg opponent, you should do everything to block the expansion. All three things are great. Sitting a Zergling here, burrowing the Zergling, and puking creep over top of the expansion. Usually Zergs will do one, do all of them. It's awesome. In fact, I even seen a trick where they have a Zergling above ground and then a burrowed Zergling. So you'll clear out the Zergling above ground, think you can then leave, think you can land the command center there, and you still can't because there's the burrowed one. Forcing him back, cutting down to siege tank numbers. There's a lot of Hellions though. And looks like I'm still walled off, so that's okay. Not working out well for him there. Landed Vikings do quite well versus Hellions. Remember, Hellions only do, well, yeah, 8 damage per attack to units that aren't light, which is actually less damage than SCV does because it's 8 damage every 2.5 seconds. It's really pathetic. So since Vikings are armored, typically in ground assault mode they're not cost effective, but versus Hellions they're extremely cost effective. So if we bring up the units lost tab now, it's 5,000 over 1,600. Now, I'd mentioned this replay before, and I said shoot 'em up knows the hard counter to my mass air build, and with an advantage like this, where he's at no upgrades on his mech or on his air, and I'm a 2-2 now, probably going to start my 3-3 soon. I'm taking my 4th and 5th base, he's just taking his 3rd now, starting his 4th. Like, I'm ahead economically, I'm ahead in upgrades, I'm ahead in units lost. This should be an easy win. And it's Thors versus Battlecruisers, which is always, like, hilarious for me. It's really easy to hold that. I find Battlecruisers are like the hard counter to Thors. It's kind of nice so you don't have to be, like, super active on your muling, but letting it get to 200, that's always bad. You want to always at least be regenerating mana, or regenerating energy. If you're not regenerating energy, it's not going to go well. We got Hellion gotten deep, got a couple kills. Deep over there as well. I gotta get my SimCity going on this base. Wall off this area, and then, you know, wall off this area. There we go. You can still get around behind me. There we go. Perfect. Blue Flame Hellions, no longer a problem. However, I can't actually walk through here. I like to leave one spot where small units can walk through so I can transfer SCVs easily. That way it still blocks out the Hellions, but not the SCVs. I haven't actually done that. So I did scout his 4th base here. I guess I shut down the last one with that Banshee. Kind of when I switch to battlecruisers, I use my Banshees more as like a scout unit and a harass unit. I don't really keep it with my army anymore. And I find it's good even to remake it, even no Banshees left and you're on battlecruiser time, it's good to remake just one Banshee for stuff like that. Thors are down, but now it's just this is not good. Battlecruisers versus Vikings. Vikings can kite the hell out of them. So it looks like we both pull back, which is fine by me. And that time he is actually able to kill one of my Expos. But that's alright. I had another command center going to take this base here, and instead I'm just going to take this one. I kind of like that I got the 12 o'clock. Often these games, when they go long term, the 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock become the contested bases. Everything else is on your side. So now I'm drying out one of the contested bases, which long term I think will give me more money. Since he has a large Viking count, I decided to mix in some Ravens just for PDDs. Kind of falling back because I probably don't have enough infrastructure. Let's see here. I got 8 starports, which I guess is a lot, but I could probably have more at this point in the game. Losing expansion there. Once again, it looks like he's going to win the Viking count, which means my battlecruisers are going to be really vulnerable. I can kind of kite my battlecruisers back and forth too, just to kind of see if I can bait him in. But with perfect micro, you should never be able to actually hit a Viking. Got some Thors working on my fortress. Looks like I never got the range upgrade, so the Thors can outrange the fortress. Just something good for you to know. You don't actually even need the whatever the Thor upgrade is. Strike cannons. You don't actually need that to take down fortresses, as long as there's no fortress upgrade, which no one really gets except for me. The Thors will not stand much of a chance. So here we go again. I'm at 3-3 upgrades now too, by the way. He's still pretty low. Just 2-0 on his mech when I was there. Again, he wins with the extra Vikings left over, and this is going to be a lot of trouble for me because he can continuously kite me. So if we get the units lost tab now, it's becoming a lot more even. Well, actually no, it's staying even, we'll say, since my giant lead. And it's getting to that point where we're just kind of each claiming our sides in the map, but I got the 12 and 6, which I think is an advantage. I think what helped me that battle is I got a whole ton of SCVs just kind of helping repair. That is not going to live. When you're a Sky Terran, don't lift your structures. If your opponent's Sky Terran, don't lift your structures. They'll survive a lot longer just sitting on the ground. Blue-Flame Hellions clean up my repairing SCV force, and again, too many Vikings, too many battlecruisers. I can't win the Viking count war. Getting a little frustrating for me. I'm really upping my Viking production, but it's going to be working. Though that little wave was small battlecruisers. That's what I mean. You just kind of do a little dance like this to see if you can get some shots in, but it's not working out well. And obviously one shot from a Viking is a lot better than one shot from a battlecruiser. Battlecruiser is all about rapid fire. And that was heavy losses there. It's like 3 orbitals for shoot 'em up. Looks like he's going to take an attempt to take the 12. That's alright, I already dried out all the gas, which is, I think, is the important part. Still don't have that range upgrade, I guess. No. One thing that might even up this unit's loss a little bit more is I'm doing a lot more repairing, so it's not really including all the money I've spent on repairing. And I'm only up by 4,000 now, which means he's been heavily winning the last few battles. That battle pretty heavily, and he's going to destroy that expo. Now I'm getting forced back even further. He's getting pretty close to hitting my production zone, so I really got to hold this now. See if he's going to continue pushing or not. So he sees that I have a 6 o'clock, and I'm building an expo, I guess, to take this base here. He's claiming the 12 for himself, however, it's just mineral, so he'll probably just mule that. Air guns in my main. Destroys that. And I make a comment. Oh, I finally see what you're doing. Did any of you catch it? Because I led off by saying this video is where Shoot 'em Up uses the hard counter to my Sky Terran build. Have you guys been seeing the hard counter? We'll finish up the game and then I'll show you guys how it worked. You had to be looking closely, otherwise you wouldn't see it. I didn't even notice it until like what, the 41-minute mark of this game. So remember, I was way up in expansions, way up in upgrades, and I had the hard counter to his build. I had well, what I thought was a hard counter to Thor's, which is battle cruisers. But every battle he had the superior Viking count, so you'd just be able to kite my battle cruisers. But how did he get the superior Viking count? Let's go check out some of the battles here. So I think there's a battle around the 27-minute mark. I was just kind of trying to make mental notes of it as I was going through the replay here. No, it hasn't happened yet. Alright, so here comes the battle. Watch what the Thors are targeting. If you leave them on attack move, they're going to always just attack battle cruisers, which are terrible against, right? Because Thors do, even with 2 upgrades, they're doing only 8 damage per shot. And since Vikings have 6 armor, that reduces it to each missile from the Thor only doing 2 damage per shot. So 2 damage per shot, 8 damage per flurry. And when you're talking about a 550 hit point unit, it's going to suck. But he doesn't target the Thors, or he doesn't target the battle cruisers. Watch him target all the Vikings. Boom, you see that? Those Vikings just evaporated, and that's how he kept getting the Viking lead. He uses the Thors to cut down my Viking numbers, takes advantage of the splash damage, and then once he has the superior Viking count, he can start doing stuff like this and just start kiting. Right, no. Fast forward again, there's another battle at 30 minutes. I'm moving in, and let's just check the units tab here. 15 Vikings for myself, only 12 for my opponent. His Vikings are 2-0, my Vikings are 3-3. Plus I got battle cruisers, which is also attack, so I should definitely be owning the air here. Boom, check that out. One more flurry. Boom. Viking count down to 1. Now I can't win this battle anymore. So he said this is something he saw in like pros using when they're facing sort of a Sky Terran. I didn't know Sky Terran existed in Pro League, but yeah, it works well, especially when I have all my Vikings following one battlecruiser. They stay clustered. Like when they attack, they'll spread out, but when they're following a unit, they stay clustered like that. That was just gross. And then finally at the 41-minute mark. I'm sure it's happening in all the battles, I just kind of noticed it in those particular ones. The whole time I'm like, how is he? I felt like I was making enough Vikings, and then at the end of each battle, he had more Vikings. I mean, only here did I notice he focused my Vikings. Look at that. Ghost through mule repair. Yeah, so that's how Thor Viking beats Battlecruiser Viking, even though Battlecruisers massacre Thors. He used the Thors to cut down the Viking count, and that's that. So, what can I do to counteract that? Well, first of all, don't cluster up all my Vikings. Keep them a little bit spread. During the battle, try to spread them out between shots a little bit. 2 is start double tapping the Thors with Yamatos. So if he only has a handful of Thors, you can just like evaporate like 3 of them at the beginning of the battle. That's what I actually normally do. So I would have kind of countered it by fluke, but for some reason I decided to only do single Yamatos on Thors. It doesn't kill the Thors, but then at least the full 300 damage of the Yamato is done, because obviously the second Yamato will only do 100 damage. But yeah, taking them right out of the battle is key. So double tap the Thors, the Yamatos, and keep your Vikings a little more spread, and it should be okay. Again, Thors they do pretty crappy damage versus Vikings too, because my Vikings will have 3 armor, which means even with 2 armor upgrades, they're only doing 20 damage per flurry, which isn't that much. The reason the Thors are massacring the Vikings is the splash damage. It's 20 per flurry, hitting a whole ton of Vikings at once. So, yeah, here's a game where I was ahead in every single way, but just a unit composition hard counter took me out, and once again, I still can't beat shoot 'em up. We had a UEN league, and the finals was actually shoot 'em up versus another Masters Terran. So we got a series of TvTs. I haven't watched the series, but I could cast that and put that up on my channel just to see 2 high-level Terrans. If that's something you guys be interested, let me know. Otherwise, I'll just keep doing the same old stuff I'm doing now. I figure if I'm going to cast games, I could actually cast pros, but I kind of know these players, so it might be a little more interesting for me. Anyways, with that, yeah, check the description for a thumbs up link, and thank you everyone for your support, for giving me thumbs up on my videos, for giving me the view count, for favoriting my videos, all that good stuff that helps put my channel a little bit more in the forefront. Yeah, and you know what? I get a lot of, when people like send me messages of asking questions, I'll respond, but when people send me messages that just say, hey, thanks a lot, I really enjoy your stuff, it doesn't really require a response, so I don't respond, but I just want to let you guys know it's highly appreciated. All the compliments and stuff kind of keeps me going, because seriously, if no one watching these videos, they would have stopped a long time ago. So yeah, okay. Let's re-end this video. Thumbs up, link in the description. Thank you everyone, and goodbye.